63 million Americans are caregivers right now. 29% are caring for both aging parents and their own children. At the same time, 69% report financial pressure. That's up from 64% just 3 years ago. 57% have had to choose between career and caring for a parent. Most Christians assume the Bible has nothing specific to say about this. It has an entire policy, not a verse, a policy with eligibility criteria and family obligations, and a clear line for when a community should step in. Almost nobody preaches it. Here is the number that should reframe this entire conversation. AARP calculates unpaid family caregiving is worth over $1 trillion a year. That is not a metaphor. It is the replacement cost of labor caregivers provide for free. Labor that would otherwise require paid professional care. Half of all caregivers report a negative financial impact. 1 in 5 say they cannot afford basic needs like food. This is not a side effect of family life. It is one of the largest unpaid labor forces in the economy. 1 in 4 American adults is currently a caregiver. 11 million receive some pay through Medicaid or VA programs. The rest do this entirely unpaid. 1 Timothy 5:3-16. Paul is writing to Timothy about how the church should handle care for widows. The passage is far more structural than most sermons suggest. Verse 4 says, if a widow has children or grandchildren, these should learn first of all to care for their own family, and so repaying their parents and grandparents. Verse 8 is the line that should stop every reader. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Family responsibility comes first. That is the strongest condemnation in the passage. Then Paul gives actual eligibility criteria for church-supported care. Verses 9-10. A widow qualifies if she is over 60, has been faithful to one husband, and is known for good deeds, raising children, hospitality, helping those in trouble. This is a means test, a real one, with real criteria written into Scripture. Then verse 16, the line that completes the structure. If a believer has widows in her care, she should continue to help them, and not let the church be burdened with them, so that the church can help those widows who are really in need. Family capacity first. Community capacity reserved for where family capacity runs out. Ruth 1:16-17 shows what this looks like beyond the minimum requirement. Ruth had no legal obligation to Naomi. Her husband, Naomi's son, was dead. Ruth was a foreigner. She could have returned to her own family in her own country. Instead, where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Ruth becomes Naomi's provider. She gleans in Boaz's field specifically to feed her mother-in-law. She exceeds every requirement 1 Timothy 5 would have placed on her. The text sets a floor. Ruth shows what's possible above it. Here is the framework stated plainly. Family provides first. 1 Timothy 5:8 calls the failure to do this a denial of faith, the strongest language in the passage. The church's role is not the default. It is the safety net for where family capacity has genuinely run out. Verified, not assumed, never a substitute for family who are able to provide. This is not a passage about limiting roles, though it's often taught that way. It is a resource allocation policy. 63 million caregivers live this tension without ever hearing the text that names it. Does 1 Timothy 5 mean anything for a household in the sandwich generation right now? First, the financial conversation. Only 39% of caregivers have discussed their parents' finances in the past year, even though 84% say it would help the family focus on what matters. Second, shared responsibility among siblings. Verse 4 says children or grandchildren, plural, not meant to default to whichever child lives closest or says yes first. Third, knowing when to seek community support without shame. If family capacity is genuinely exhausted, Verse 16 structure exists for this. That is not failure. That is the system working as designed. The action from this episode is one conversation, scheduled this week. If you have aging parents, ask about their finances directly. Long-term care plans, existing debts, what they've budgeted for the years ahead. If you have siblings, bring the conversation to all of them, not just the one already doing the most. If your family's capacity is genuinely at its limit, ask your church. Not as a last resort, but as the system 1 Timothy 5 describes. Family first, community for where family capacity runs out. That is the policy. Almost nobody has heard it stated that plainly. The sandwich generation is not a new problem Scripture missed. It's a problem Scripture addressed with more precision than modern financial planning. The next video asks, what happens when the crisis arrives without warning? Without time to plan at all? It is queued up right now.